welcome today. My name is Valeria. I'm Talent Search and Business Development Manager at Placement International. We're excited to have you here for a very special conversation about some incredible opportunities in one of the south most charming cities, Savannah, Georgia. While we're waiting for everybody to join, drop a comment and tell us if you have ever experienced Southern hospitality. And please give a warm welcome to our guest today, Eric Fulham, Executive Chef from the JW Marriott Savannah Plant Riverside District team. Hi, Eric. Thanks so much for joining us today. And how are you doing?
I'm doing great. Thank you so much. I'm excited to be here. Thank you for
That's
having me.
always welcome, and that's wonderful to have you here. And before we actually get started, let me tell you a bit more about this property. JW Marriott Savannah Plant Riverside District is where Savannah's historic riverfront meets world-class hospitality. This stunning property sites right on the Savannah River, blending the city's legendary southern charm with Marriott International's globally recognized standards of excellence. For culinary and F&B professionals, there's where Georgia's rich food culture and modern luxury hospitality come together. Today, we're going to learn what it's the real like to work in this kitchen and what opportunities await the right candidates. So let's get started. And we will start with the property itself. Eric, what makes JW Marriott Savannah so special? What culinary philosophy guides your kitchen?
Yeah, it's actually one of my favorite things to do when I start interviews, especially for J1 candidates who have no idea like what to expect. I'm leaving home and I'm coming to somewhere who knows what. So we're actually really proud of the word culture. So I've been here for almost 3 years, and there's the culinary piece, there's the cooking skill, and then there's everything else.
Mhm.
And so, we have to focus on skill. We're going to train people how to be cooks, how to be chefs in the future. But what's alive here, and what's
Mhm.
grown here, and what separates this place, I would say globally and especially in Savannah, is the culture that we created. So it's different. It is a push towards professionalism,
Mhm.
really kind of elongating that, especially for someone who's coming out of school. We're elongating that. I'm growing into a professional phase and trying to create that throughout this community, as a standout luxury hotel. Um, People will be people, so not every single person is motivated the exact same way. But that sets us apart from a philosophy of culture. And another piece that sets us apart that maybe we can get into a little bit later, but we have
Mhm.
14 different restaurants with 14 different styles. So you have the ability to learn African food, learn Mexican food, learn Italian food. It's a big variety.
How can you actually manage to make all of these cuisines, all of those concepts collaborate together and live within one venue?
Team. Yes, that's how our team's about 100 people strong.
Oh, wow.
So I am nothing without the team. That's why
Mhm.
that's why we created the brigade system in
Mhm.
kitchen. So it's a lot. It's a heavy day. Every day is packed full. But we have chefs that are committed to each one of the outlets, each one of their respected pieces, and I guide the team and teach, and it's a lot, but it's fun. It's a lot, but it's fun.
I would imagine. And that's actually why you're constantly looking for the new talent, right?
Correct. Yeah, I mean, it's ebbs and flows of business, but consistently we're in tourism Savannah, so we are
Mhm.
in the spot. So it is consistently busy.
Hmm. And given that there's such a variety and so much exciting things that the candidates can do, what are the learnings that they get with you? What do they actually get to take out with them at the end of their J1 program, since we're talking about international recruitment here?
Yeah. I mean, I can kind of give you a couple of examples. I really have to take their word for it for what they're taking away. I give them platforms just like you would teach anybody. You know, here's your platform for learning. And then what you walk away with is completely up to you.
Hmm.
Uh, I start off a lot of my interviews explaining to people that we're going to go through phases where you've maybe just gone through school and you're ready to be a chef. Like, I'm ready to be the chef. And I make sure that I cover in my interview process a, a fair reality check. One of my favorite things to talk about is fryer maintenance, cleaning a fryer. It is
Wow.
not the most luxurious thing, all right? It is not the most exciting thing, but I've had to clean 10,000 fryers in my day before I became the executive chef of a big property like this. It is important, and that skill is very
Hmm.
important because you need to learn the basic of daily maintenance of something like a fryer. And I use that analogy because it's not your most beautiful thing to talk about, right? Like, you go online and you look at our hotel and you're like, whoa, but we still have fryers to clean, you know? And so you walk away with baseline skills, and then where you go, or you start with some of those baseline skills, and where you go from there is really dictated by your engagement and your relationship building. So, you know, we have a training plan. So you're going to
Hmm.
do X, Y, and Z, and you're going to be able to see
Hmm.
X, Y, and Z. But beyond that, you set your path. Just, it's not any different for an international associate to join our team than it is anyone from Savannah. You
Hmm.
make the relationship, you work harder than anybody else,
Hmm.
you show your value, and you will continue to be presented with more opportunity.
Hmm.
So those skills can, to answer your question more specifically, those skills can range from baseline to your vigor that you bring here will get you to the meat station in the steakhouse. It just really depends on what you bring to the table as an
Hmm.
individual.
Well, everything is about a good base, right?
Yeah,
Basic skills, knowing how to handle the environment, different objects, different projects, and then building on that skills further.
100%. Um,
Well,
sorry, go ahead.
besides cleaning deep fryers, what are the other typical duties of your J1 candidates on property on day-to-day basis? Well, give them some examples of things that they get to work with during 1 year.
Absolutely. Um, well, it's for 90% of where team members land would be in a
Mhm.
restaurant. Some
Mhm.
do a stint in banquets, which the flow of your day is going to be a little bit different. Um, we're not set up in the majority of our restaurants where we just have prep cooks
Mhm.
and cooks. So your day is going to look like, you know, walking in, getting your prep list that either you've prepared the day prior or a chef's prepared for you, and beginning to receive delegation from your leader or delegate your tasks that you've already created for yourself on preparation for whichever restaurant. So, as an example, it's probably around 2 hours of preparation before you get into either lunch service or dinner service. Um, you could be based on your skill set more focused on prep. If that's something you're still getting used to, maybe knife skills are not your wheelhouse, or perhaps like you've never cooked on a line before, you may be starting in preparation and not jumped right onto the line. But let's say that you're in a scenario where, you're pretty comfortable. You'd have 2 hours of preparation, about 4 hours of dinner service, where you're cooking, or lunch service where you're cooking on a station. So you're responsible for the tickets coming in, organizing yourself. You'll be working with probably either 2 or 3 layers of leadership. So a supervisor, a sous chef, and a chef de cuisine. And then throughout the hotel, I have 2 executive sous chefs and then myself as well.
Mhm.
So preparation, cooking, stations such as saute, fry, grill, and they waver based on the outlet. Like I said, we have 14. So one of those outlets is a burger restaurant. Like, talk about fundamental skills. And again, like that analogy of something like that's basic, but if you go out there, you're like pretty responsible for cooking for hundreds of people because it's a very small location. So like, while that may be a simple cooking technique, there's a lot of pressure to perform, So you do your preparation and you cook, and you're cooking for 300-400 people a day. So I hope, maybe I have so much to tell you. I hope that answers a good amount of your question.
That's impressive. It's just one crazy amount of people, right?
Yeah, yeah.
So speaking about that variety of cuisines, right? Overall, not just on property, but also in Savannah, it's quite a unique food culture. You have Southern traditions mixed with coastal influence overall. How does that show up in your kitchens? Does one restaurant somehow influence another? And what can culinary professionals learn from working in such environment?
Yeah, I mean, it's variety. I think, you know, I it's interesting how to articulate it, but they are all their own kitchens. I mean,
Mhm,
you have a chef who's running each one of these places. So not only do you get to learn different leadership,
mhm,
you also get to learn the cuisines. Our owner, whose vision this place is, he's a world traveler. And
mhm,
that's why we have an African restaurant, because he loves to visit Africa. Um, we're influenced by Mexican cuisine because he loves to go to South America and to Mexico all the time. Um, you know, and then we highlight our local, regional cuisine as well. So, I'd say like regional cuisine out on our pier, which is actually on the river. It's a beautiful site. We have 4 outdoor venues, and simply we call them barbecue, seafood, burger, and beer, but it's district barbecue, district burger. Um, and that is our regional cuisine. The seafood restaurant is sitting basically on a dock, not literally, but basically on a dock. So we're creating an environment where we're doing broiled oysters, we're doing fried local shrimp. The shrimp might sound corny, but like the flavor of Georgia shrimp is identifiably completely different than anywhere else that you get shrimp. They're sweet. Um, and then our catch, like, our seafood, it's not literally all coming off the dock. In Georgia, it's not the biggest fishing area ever, but Florida is. So, the coast of North Carolina all the way down to Florida, we're getting local seafood and highlighting it on our menus. So that regional aspect, even our steakhouse, we're finding some of the best domestic beef. We get it out of Chicago, which is not uber local. However, it is hands down. I've done hundreds of tastings, the best beef quality. And then that cooking skill of Um, Quality driven product with classic cooking skill equals amazing. You know, like it's not a 300 step process how to make a dish. It's, can you take an amazing piece of beef, cook it really well, finish it with a sauce, and you know the skill of cooking is what's going to set apart the quality.
Hmm. The simplicity, I guess, of the process as well matters. The simpler the recipe, the more impressive it is in sense of flavors and how it can be highlighted through the cooking techniques.
Especially whenever you're highlighting high quality product.
Hmm.
So if you take a chicken breast, which is, you know, like not the most exciting thing on the planet. It doesn't have any fat. It can get dry really quick. And then, you know, you cook it like Indian cuisine and you cook it with, you do it like Indian butter chicken, right? With a chicken
Hmm.
breast. Boom. Holy cow. You just took the driest, most boring piece of chicken and you turned it into a rich sauce. So you need these cooking skills to highlight that chicken breast. Whenever you take the best piece of beef that I've ever had in my life and you spend 300 touches to try and make it better, you don't need to. You need to know how to cook. You need to know how to cook well because anybody, you can go to any like, you know, local steakhouse, you know, a famous chain around here is a Longhorn Steakhouse or I don't know, you know, just something mediocre. And they're never going to cook your steak right. And it's always going to be tough and chewy. And so it's the skill that matters. And that's the cook. That's the associate who wants to come work here. So it's important.
Exactly. So speaking of those associates and their skills, what is exactly that you're looking for in your candidates when you talk to them?
Oh, I'm going to be super controversial when I say this. Okay.
Let's go.
And I also start all my interviews off like this. I am looking for you to make mistakes. That's okay. You're literally coming here to learn. And I'm okay with that. But what I want are for people to make mistakes, learn, and not do it again. So it is. I'm not expecting the next three Michelin star chef to leave my kitchen and go and do that, become a head chef, three Michelin star restaurant.
Hmm.
I'm looking for people who will have an attitude of wanting to learn, grow. You know, for me, and what I teach my leadership team is, you know, we have people who are leaving their families, their life, their, you know, they're picking up and they're spending money to come here and learn with us. We have a responsibility in that. And I'm looking 100% for a positive attitude, a will and a want to come and learn and grow. Somebody with thick skin who can make
Embrace the mistakes.
and not be broken from being corrected because you will get corrected. That's
Mhm.
fine. Like we're not going to throw a pan at anybody's head. We're just going to say, hey, you know, this is wrong. This is how you do it correctly the next time. Um, but I'm looking for somebody to join that culture piece that I was talking about earlier.
Mhm.
It's a bonus for me that um, that the team that we would be getting from placement will have a baseline knowledge of cooking. But that's my expectation is that they have a baseline knowledge of cooking. Sometimes it's hard for people who have maybe a little bit more experience besides just going culinary
Mhm.
school because they want to come in and implement things that, hey, I've been doing this for 5, 6, 7 years. I'm not new to the game, and that can get frustrating for people. But we recognize that that the associates that we get from placement are here for a purpose to learn, and with learning comes mistakes, but with learning comes an open mind and an attitude to be coachable and to be teachable. So I can't stress any more that it's more here than
Mhm.
here is what I'm looking for.
That's very good, guys. If you're watching us, the chef is just giving you tips on how to pass an interview with him.
True story.
Well, well, now moving from working to playing, right? We work hard, we play hard. What can the candidates be excited about living in Savannah? What makes it a special place to be in?
Well, number one, I've personally only got to live in a city once, and I don't live in Savannah currently. I live about an hour away. I love it here. I'm more of a city person myself. There's always something to do. Savannah has a ton of, it's got a good restaurant scene. It's kind of on the up and up in the Southeast US
Mhm.
for maybe some famous chefs and some anybody who has Netflix. There's a documentary on one of our restaurants in this town. Called it'll come to me in a second, but it's on the up and up for what's cool for dining. Besides that, I mean, it's an old historic town. It's one of the oldest cities in the US. So where we're placed on the river walk is what it's called of Savannah, is where the ships used to come and unload trade. Now we have, of course, like a big container ship area, down the river. But back in early 1900s, that's where we work is where people used to unload ships. So if you're into art, you're into style. Savannah has a college called SCAD. It's an art university. And it's probably one of the more highly notable art universities in the U.S. So it kind of brings a theme to the city for art, design. So there's a lot to do. I do know that especially something that is helpful for the students. Um, all over the city, there are these like um, scooters, electric scooters that you can just tap and rent and just take them wherever you want and drop them off. So you can get around the city pretty easily um, without having a bike, without having a car. So it's fun to be able to see everything.
It's a pretty cool way of commuting and
Yeah,
learning the city as well.
yeah.
Well, to sum up, if somebody asks you to describe JW Marriott Savannah in one word, what would it be?
Unique.
That's a good one.
Yeah, very unique. There is nothing like it in Savannah, and there's very few like it in the country.
Well, thank you so much, Eric. Thank you for sharing these insights and giving everyone a real look at what working at that JW Marriott Savannah is all about. And thank you, everyone who joined us today. We hope this conversation helped you to see what's possible when you combine your culinary passion with an opportunity like this. If you're ready to bring your skills to Savannah and be part of the JW Marriott team, this is your moment. For the ones who are applying for culinary positions and F&B positions, we're actually holding interview set on Friday, February 20th. So if you're looking to apply, please visit our website at www.placement-international.com or reach out directly at info@placement-in.com. Don't forget to follow us on social media to stay updated on future live sessions and new opportunities at prestigious properties around the world. Thanks again for being here today, Eric, and everybody, all of the candidates. Thank you so much. We look forward to seeing you, some of you in Savannah soon.
Thank you very much. It was a pleasure.
Bye.